Hey guys, Dr. Steve Fonso, and welcome you to The Connected Life. Today we are going to be talking about two subjects. One is the ability to be present, and the other is the use of force. Parents, I want you to pay attention to this because this is going to be helpful, especially when we're interacting with our kids around the house. So, welcome to The Connected Life. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. Now, have you noticed, if you're around your house and you're with your kids, that oftentimes when you're not present, when you're out in the clouds, when you're not with the kids, and you're wanting them to do something, and you're wanting them to behave a certain way, that you generally require more force to do it. Meaning that you have to yell at them, you have to get irritated, you have to raise your voice, you have to work harder and use more energy the less present you are. And then on the flip side, the more present you are and the more resilient state you're in, with the more energy, you find that you almost flow with things. You don't have to use as much force. It might be just a little nudge or a little gentle push, but it's not something where you have to go and grab them. You have to go and get angry about it and express all this force to get something to happen in your life. And that could be with the kids, that could be at work, that could be with your partner, it could be in any facet of life, but the more present and connected you are with something, generally the less force is required. And I'm not talking about the force used in like Star Wars, not that force. We're talking about something where you have to project an energy and project a force onto something. And generally the more present you are, you're utilizing a higher capacity of energy. So when we look at presence and force, what we're looking at is as this level of presence goes up, the required amount of force actually goes down. Why do we want to lower the force? Well, in a sense, it doesn't really accomplish much. If you think about people that are in your life, when they've tried to express their force on you to get you to do something, how receptive were you to that? Probably not that receptive. And in fact, if they did this over and over and over again, you actually start to build a level of resentment towards them because you're perceiving that they're just challenging, they're in your way, they're trying to get you to do things that you just clearly don't want to do. So we have to remember that when we feel that as people and someone's trying to force their values or force their behavior onto us, we don't like that. And when we feel that force, we tend to want to push back. We tend to want to fight. Or maybe we want to just go hide in a corner, but nonetheless, it doesn't really get the job done at the end of the day. Someone's getting resentful and someone's doing something that they really don't want to do, and at the end of the day, who wins? No one really. So, and you surely don't win because you use way more energy in doing that. So, what do we want to focus on? Well, we want to focus on, in our interactions, in the relationships, is if I'm using a lot of force, if I'm finding a certain area, or even one of my children are needing more force, then my job as a parent is to ask myself the question of how do I then become more present with them. If I'm using and acknowledging, there's going to be some kids, if you have more than one child, you're going to find that there's going to be maybe one or two of the kids that you just generally use less force with, and maybe one that you tend to use a little bit more force with. Your job with that person, however they're expressing that trait, whatever they're expressing in their life, is your job to start to be with that, to merge with that, to connect with that. And as you connect with that, you increase your level of presence. You may find that one of your children, as an example, or your partner, expresses certain ways about them that just really irritate you, aggravate you, trigger you. That's an opportunity for us parents to be able to look inside as a self-reflective capacity to say, hey, what's really going on here within me? They seem to be behaving and acting a certain way, and I want to change them. I don't like the way that they are, the way that they are. That is a golden ticket, a golden nugget for you to now connect inward. And from a personal development area, it's how can I grow from this experience? So if you're having trouble being present with someone at work or someone at home, then your obvious job is to now become and start to work at how do I raise my level of presence. Well, how do you do that? Well, one simple way is to ask the question, what do I love about them right now? that'll bring me present very quickly. What if they were no longer in my life? Opposite end question. That'll bring you present. Because even the idea that they wouldn't be in your life anymore forces you to become present. And chances are, if you're already starting to ask these questions, you're already starting to increase your level of presence anyway, which is great. Now, as you're doing this work on yourself, your level of force is going to start to go down. As your presence goes up, you start using what we call the frontal lobe of the brain, and you start getting and activating curiosity. When you activate curiosity, your force is simultaneously going down, and you are becoming more resourceful and resilient in that moment. And more resourceful parents are going to talk with their kids different, use different strategies, take different actions when you're in a more resourceful state. So if you find, first, that you are projecting your force on someone, then it's a call for you to ask a new set of questions and become more present. What do I love about them right now? That'll add your presence. And what if they were no longer in my life? Whoa, that's another big question. That'll force you to be present. The more present you become, you activate a different part of your brain called the frontal lobe. That activates more curiosity. Curiosity now leads to more resourceful behavior on your end, and also the curiosity leads to, can I find different strategies to use with them to really ultimately get what I'd like them to do or see happen. So that's just a couple little tips for me. Just remember, the more forceful you are, the less present you are. The more present you are, the less force. And as you use less force, you actually use less energy and you stay more vital. And I want you to be vital. So I want you to be a vital parent, someone that's resourceful, curious, using your human faculties of your brain. That's an ideal parent to be able to utilize the highest parts, the highest versions of ourselves, and then transmit that over to our kids so that they learn from us. So I'm Dr. Steve, and have an awesome week.